Mm-hmm.
What's America's favorite soda?
Mm-mm.
Minnesota. Get it, like Minnesota?
Oh.
Minnesota. Hi guys, welcome back to Necessarily Tiffany. If you're new here,
Welcome.
if you're returning for yet another video,
Welcome back, Necessarily Family.
Guys, we are in our bed today. This challenge has been a lot, but we decided to film from our bed today because why not, right? We're still in quarantine, but we are on day number 7 of the Say I Do countdown. We've done 10, 9, 8 on the same day, but you guys are getting 7 on the 7th day. Look at us. Look at God, right? So let's just address the elephant in the room. We are in pajamas, but this is not what we wear to bed. If y'all want to see that, y'all got to pay. I'm joking. You're not going to see it. But so today for day number 7, we're going to talk about the 7-year itch. So if you don't know what the 7-year itch is, it is a theory saying that the 7th year of marriage is the hardest. I don't know why. It's just literally that it's just that year that everything comes to a halt. So our 7th year actually happened in 2019. That was like almost our full 7th year of marriage.
That was our full 7th
And let's talk about that. Marcus, do you believe in the 7-year itch, first of all?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
And last year was definitely harder than any of the other years that we've had together.
Okay. So what is it about the 7th year that makes it hard? Like, and just in general, not for us, but we'll get to that. But what do you think about the 7th year makes it hard?
Well, it's a number of things. It's outside circumstances. It's, it could be a number of things if, money's not right. Not necessarily for us, which wasn't the case, but just in general, outside and internal factors. It could be anything from finances to, sudden attention to, what have you. It's really just dependent upon, whatever your situation kind of comes up.
So I'm skeptical of the 7-year itch. I'm only skeptical because like we had a lot of our challenges, most of our challenges that could have ended our marriage happened in the first year of our marriage. And that was us, A, being immature, and B, like getting to know each other. Because it sounds crazy. We got together, we were engaged that next year, we waited a year, then we got married. So like in that like first year of marriage, I was still a child. I was like 23, 24. And we were just kind of living together, and it got crazy, right? Because we had to mesh everything we both knew and like make this new home for us. But for 7 years, I don't know. To me, just marriage just kind of got sweeter. And like you said, this is why I'm skeptical. So I know the first year was hard, but year 7, you throw kids in the mix, you throw careers in the mix, you just throw life circumstances in the mix, and that's why I think it made it difficult for us. But difficult for us wasn't something that necessarily I was like, oh, this is potentially like call it quits moments,
Would you say with the stuff we faced in the first 1 or 2 years prepared us for the 7-year itch?
I would say so, but I also would say prayer. Because for all of you that don't know, let's go ahead and start from the beginning of 2019. So 2019, for me, like craziness, started in January. It really started in 2018, but it was like a continuation. So things happened at my job, and long story short, I had to report someone for, I don't want to say racist behavior, but racist behavior, and basically racially targeting me. And I kept receipts because sis keeps receipts. So if anything like that, sidebar, if anything like that ever happens to you, keep receipts. So like when it was like actually founded, I had to actually deal with that stuff because I kept receipts and I CC everybody. I mean, I BCC and I CC everybody. So between that, losing my father, my sister, Marcus, my contract for my job was actually ending that year. Marcus's contract ended. It was just a whole bunch of stuff that just happened in 2019. And I think it wasn't necessarily you and I.
Right.
But it was outside forces. So I do get what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different story if it's, if it's internal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you know, outside factors can tend, sometimes they play a factor into, you know, how your marriage works or how your marriage goes, particularly within that 7th year. Maybe it wasn't a factor in year 5 or year 4, but all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden year 7 hits and you factor in kids and everything else, and that
Yeah.
could be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Mm-hmm. I do have to say I was different in year 7. And I think if I didn't decide to get counseling because of my grief, I completely disassociated. By July, I was numb. I was completely numb. I was hurt. I didn't understand. I felt blindsided. And really, my mind went into my heart and my spirit went into complete, defense mode. So shutting down to me was a defense mechanism. I was trying to take care of myself. And I don't think that helped you at all. And it definitely didn't help our marriage at all. But the fact that you clung to me, and that really helped.
What else was I going to do?
I don't know.
I
mean, again, that 7th year, like you said, since you believe in it, somebody could have just left. A lot, like it was heavy to handle. It still is heavy to handle. So, I'm skeptical about the 7-year itch. It's just like I want to believe it because I know, especially when you're pissed at somebody and somebody you sleep with, somebody you live with, you know what I'm saying, somebody you cook dinner for, or cooks dinner for you, like vice versa. I can see where that could build up to something you're like, I'm sick of this. But then again, for us, it was so different because we had dealt with so much hell the first like year and a half of our marriage.
But just because it's the 7th-year itch doesn't necessarily mean that 7th year marks the end of your marriage if all those outside factors factor into it.
Well, that's the theory. That's the theory of it.
If I guess in my mind, the way I see the 7th-year itch playing out is these things happen, and that can be an option.
Mm-hmm.
But just because it's an option, at least in my eyes, you don't have to take that route.
Yeah.
You can be frustrated, you can be ticked off, you can be irritated with the situations that are taking place in your marriage. But at the end of the day, you ultimately make that decision. It could be very, very well be that it's the 7th-year itch, but I'm gonna power through it.
Weird question, and I'm asking you this off the cuff while we're recording. You can, plead the fifth. You ever thought about leaving? Has anything ever gotten bad enough where you're like, man, I can't handle it?
I can tell you now, I haven't. I've had my days where it's just been like, man, I don't know how I'm going to push through it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you have to.
Yeah.
It's not I knew what I signed up for when I said I do. So me knowing that and being a product of divorce,
mm-hmm.
Certain things aren't an option. Divorce and leaving is off the table.
So I'm a product of divorce as well. Do you think having divorced parents shaped any part of your view on marriage?
That's a good question. If anything, it showed me what not to do. Mm-hmm. And I mean this without throwing any shade. Mm-hmm. There were certain aspects of my mom and my dad's marriage that worked, and then there were certain things that didn't. So seeing the stuff that didn't work, those are the pitfalls that you want to avoid. Mm-hmm. And knowing that I never want to have a conversation with Noelle to say, baby girl, mommy and daddy aren't working anymore, so daddy's moving out and mommy and daddy are getting divorced.
But we still love you. Oh, that's the worst.
That is a hard
That is the most gut-wrenching thing that your parents could say, like, hey, we like, basically, we don't love each other, but we love you. I don't know. Did you take it that way as a kid? I did.
I was 6, so I mean,
now I was older than that.
It was what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, growing up, it was just like, I never want to have that conversation with my child.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that's not the only thing that factors into pushing through the 7-year itch. It plays a lot on it, but it's not the only thing. The only thing the one thing that really kind of comes to mind is I made a covenant in front of Christ and everybody else to say, I'm going to love you till death do us part. Mm-hmm. So either it's going to work or it's going to work.
Yeah. For me, I think divorce, I don't know. That's a hard question because till my dad's dying day, he always said he loved my mother and she was going to be the last woman he married. So for me, I know my parents they couldn't work. There were so many things that it just couldn't work. But to see how much that he still loved her, and he knew he messed up. But to see how much he still loved her. Like, my parents could talk on the phone for hours. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And my parents talked on the phone to each other more than I talked on the phone to my parents. Because half the time they're just complaining about us. But, my gosh. But, like, seriously, like, just to see that love was just, like, even after they had been separated at that point. Oh, my gosh. 15 years? My parents have been separated 15 years. What? Yeah, no, longer than that. Yeah, longer than 15 years. I was like 13. So, yeah, it's just one of those things to see. And then just knowing, I don't know if my parents' divorce taught me what not to do. Actually, my parents' divorce, like, kind of put the nail in the coffin of me, like, not wanting to get married. And I thought I never wanted to get married from, middle school up until I met you. And, that was one thing I always told you. Like, I wasn't that girl. I didn't really want the house, the kids, the 2 cars, the cat, because I would never get a dog first. But, yeah, I didn't want that. But something, obviously, in you, and something I saw in you, and something I saw in us changed that. But, yeah, I think the thing that I learned from my parents' relationship and divorce, that I really didn't want to get married. Not saying that, this is hard. Not saying that it wasn't, like, what they went through, but really, like, just even the thought of marriage and divorce, it was just, like, a lot to me. Because I knew how much my parents loved each other, but it just couldn't work. And to me, that is heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking,
So even with the outside factors that factor with us, with like around the 7th year, what kept you plugged in? Because you could have easily been like, look, this,
I mean, I completely disassociated from you, from everybody. For a moment, I did, but I think you were like a dung beetle to dung. You were just right there. Like, there was no, and I wanted to be irritated. I wanted to be mad at you in my grief because I wanted to be alone. But you know me so well that sometimes my mind can play really bad tricks on me. So, like, being close to me and, like, clinging to me at that time was amazing because I knew I had someone. So I really think it was you clinging to me when I was just trying to completely disassociate because of grief. Did I answer your question?
Stuck to you like a fly on doo-doo. So
yeah, I just called you a dung beetle.
You did.
My little dung beetle.
Yeah, let's not make that a regular nickname.
Yeah. But other than that, I think I really don't know. I'm skeptical. I'm really skeptical about the 7-year itch. Like, I've been reading on it and just knowing I would say, like, for me, our 7th year of marriage was the hardest. Not between me and you, but with everything else. The 7th year, my faith struggled. You know what I'm saying? Loss. Just loss after loss. I took hella L's. Like, hella L's. But L's are losses. My mom's probably like, what is this? She'll probably text me like, what is L's? But I took hella losses that year. But you clinging to me and just reminding me that we're in this together definitely helped. But I don't think it was us marriage-wise. Just like life in that year hit me. But your 2019 was actually kind of lit.
It was.
Outside of, like, family deaths, like,
I wouldn't. It was cool enough to the point where, even with the small snag, because when I lost my contract from August up until October, mm-hmm. It was rough. Like, mm-hmm. I don't even think I think I may have told you, but I went through a severe bout of depression. Mm-hmm. For a little bit at the end of the shooting. Of the filming. Of the filming.
No shootings happen here, guys.
At the end of the filming to, mid-October, it was just like, man, all right, well, how is this going to work? Mm-hmm. For me, it's always been a feather in my cap to be able to provide, to be able to make sure that Noelle and everybody don't go without. Now, granted, we didn't go without, but I can't sit here and say with a straight face that I didn't stress out about how I was going to try to make ends meet.
I do have to tell you guys how faithful God was to us in 2019. Literally, anything you could think that could go wrong with somebody, from, losing jobs to death to finance issues to, medical
trying to make sure we have
issues,
meds. Yeah.
all of that like happened to us in 2019. But when I mean to tell you that God came through with some of the easiest alley-oops, and just like God is so faithful. Like there will be a point in time when I'm able to talk about all this without completely crying and breaking down. And once we're fully on the other side, it's just gonna be a video. Look for it. It's gonna be called Testimony, or Won't He Do It? Because y'all, like, literally, we were down to nothing. There were sometimes we were down to nothing, and somehow God just hooked us up with some kind of alley-oop, and we were straight again. Even through this pandemic, because for me, 2020 is just 2019 extended. But like, God has been so faithful to us. Like, we don't miss meals. We don't miss a mortgage payment. We don't miss car payments. God has been so faithful. So in all of that happened in, our 7th year, God has really shown us who He is. And it's like, I'm going to do it or I'm not. And every time, like, He did it. And even when He didn't do it, like, we've seen later on how it played out. How, had He would have done it the way we asked, it wouldn't have worked to our advantage. And it wouldn't have worked at all. Like, it would have been an extreme disadvantage to us. So,
I'd be willing to go on a limb and say that's the key to surviving your 7th year.
Yeah.
Or getting past the 7-year itch.
Yeah, for us.
In general.
Yeah.
If you keep God first, the 7th year may be tough, but you'll make it through.
Yeah. Communication too. That's one thing I think I failed at when we actually did you guys know we do our annual marriage. We do an annual review of each other on our anniversary. And that's, one thing I didn't score the best on my communication, but I mean, it was understandable why my communication wasn't the way it needed to be, but still, more communication would have definitely helped, our marriage. So, yeah. So really just leaning on God and leaning on your faith and knowing that everything you need, He will provide, because He says He will. And communicating with your spouse. You have anything else?
Not really. I mean, from a male's perspective, it's just being able to kind of grind it out.
Why is that just a male?
Because there are a lot of, well, just in general, there are a lot of different options that may seem feasible, especially when times are tough. You may want to exit stage right, but I can only give you my perspective. If you're able to kind of hunker down and pray on it and talk it out, you should be able to make it.
That's pretty much it.
That's the short and the long of it,
But we just wanted to come in and talk about that. That's something like we've discussed, and I was like, hey, that would be perfect for the countdown on day number 7. So, yeah, you guys, if you believe in the 7-year itch, write down below, comment down below, and let us know. Like, this is something that really, like, if you Google 7-year itch in marriage, like, there are papers on it, there are articles on it, like, people really think it's real. And I'm reading about it, like, Then Marcus was like, I don't know, our 7th year was crazy. So, I mean, going back and forth, he believes in it, I'm skeptical. So let us know what you guys think. But we have 7 more days until Say I Do premieres on Netflix on July 1st. Be on the lookout. Again, we still haven't planned anything. What we probably will do is watch it at a set time and then go on Instagram Live and answer any questions. I think that's probably the best thing to do. We're not going to have a watch party because of coronavirus. Yeah, and we're not going to a restaurant to watch it or have people here. It's just too much, especially because we're still in quarantine. So, yeah, we'll probably watch it and then go on IG Live and talk to you guys about it. So, that's what we're going to do. We're just saying it now. That's what it is. So, we'll put times and stuff out later. But we love you guys. It's late. It's bedtime. We're about to go to bed and enjoy our night. So I hope you guys enjoy yours too. Love you.